This week, the main topic has no correct answer. I mean, when does it ever, really? Come on. But Swiss Water gave us a wonderful prompt, and we wanted to save it for a week that I wasn't recovering from a surgery. So here it is. Right after news, we are going to hit an incredible main topic by Swiss Water. It's Après Steep, episode 22.
The Tartiflette Games Backcountry Brawl is getting closer and closer. It won't be this weekend, but next weekend, June 5th or June 6th. We'll be figuring out what works best for our schedule, and then we'll be seeing you in a live-streamed version of the Tartiflette Games.
Following that live stream, the next weekend, June 12th, is the heavily awaited Ubisoft Forward event tagging on with E3 2021. And you know that we will be running another live stream during Ubisoft Forward. We are looking forward to whatever news they have in store. Let's cross our fingers, let's cross our toes that we get some Riders Republic news this time around.
And finally, Shred the Spot is still going on. Shred the Spot 8 is taking place in Zermatt, the Alps, Switzerland. It's below the LOL challenge. Those entries will be due Thursday, June 3rd. And be sure to join the House of Shred Discord for the latest information and to submit your run.
So just about a week ago, we received a topic suggested by Swiss Water, and this one really caught our attention, and we could have done it last week for the main topic, but after surgery, I was not in the right headspace to tackle something like this. So Swiss Water had an idea. You guys could talk about when was the peak of steep and what caused it? What was the cause of the peak, the most important time when everybody was playing this video game? And I think you and I have a rough estimate. Of course, you found the stats, but just personally, I think we experienced that wave firsthand. So let's talk about it. It definitely wasn't at the beginning of the game, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, there was probably the initial launch when everyone was playing it that was interested, like us. When we saw the game at E3, we jumped on it and we're playing it. But shortly after that, I would think there wasn't too much. I mean, we did our first competition in January, I think, after. And there were some entrants. I mean, some of that's just because it was the first event where it was like January. We posted on Reddit, so we had like 5 people, and it was a test. The second one, I think we had 20 some people enter, but then that was just a mess of how we ran the competition. So we didn't grow from there. We didn't really try to, but there wasn't too much going on in the game or around the game content wise. I'd say the summertime after that.
Well, I mean, if you remember back to the first couple of months of this video game, the multiplayer was trash. It was one of those running jokes. It was almost like a Red Dead 2 or like a GTA 5, in the later years, the second or third year, once the servers were crowded and you couldn't find your friends and all of that. It was like that. We would log in and it would take us 15, 20 minutes for just you and I to party up. So that was not super appealing. You were kind of relegated to just riding on your own. And I really think at launch they missed out on that multiplayer aspect of it, and I think if that was working smoothly at release or close to release, that it would have captured more attention than it did right at the beginning. But then we start getting into the DLCs, and the game really starts to polish up.
Yeah, I think part of that too is just our college internet. We had that experience in multiple games with NAT types, I think, where one of us was type 1, one was type 2, so that was part of it. It was hard to play with other people too, though. And there wasn't much to do outside of exploring. That goes into the whole other debate of, we talked about earlier, where Steep, when it came out, was, kind of this love project by the studio, and they wanted to capture that feel of exploring the mountains and seeing what there is to do. It wasn't designed to be a multiplayer action sport. It's like, let's all gang up and do some stuff, which it has slowly turned into, and what Riders Republic looks exactly like that. So, there wasn't as much of a reason, I'd say, to stick around. You could beat it. There's the people like us that are still here to this day trying to create content, do some challenges, some videos. They'll always be there. And, that's why some of I'd say the game's still pretty active today just because of that group of people. I think a lot of the events are busier now than they have been.
Sorry, I'm holding back burps here. You're talking very elegantly. I didn't want to ruin it. Yeah, I mean, and then, we start moving in even in the first year of the release, we start moving into the dreaded Winterfest DLC. That's the first stop on the road that I want to talk about, because it was an open world concept. Steep felt more of a concept than an actual game. Like you said, it wasn't an adventure, action, sports, high intensity, multiplayer, compete for the top kind of game, kind of what it's formed into now. It was very mellow. And then we get smacked in the face with Winterfest, which was just this goofy, bright colors, ridiculous costumes, and it was a little more cartoony than we had seen in the game up to that point. But I don't think the execution was as good as it could have been on Winterfest. There wasn't a ton to do, and you could you beat it in 7 hours, 6 or 7 hours?
No, it was 2 hours. It was short. It was real short. Yeah. A lot of the DLC have been short, though. Even the X Games, I think the X Games career was a couple hours at most to actually beat, unless you want to go back and keep doing leaderboards, which isn't my thing, but playing through that story was short. Even the Olympics one, there was more events than the X Games, so it took a little bit longer, but watching those videos, the interviews, which were great, was a lot of the time spent in that DLC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then, following the Winterfest DLC, we finally had the rocket wingsuit. That was the time. I think that's the first small peak of the game, is when they got the rocket wingsuit in there and you were dealing with actual speed. And people that had put the game down quickly picked it back up and got in there to explore all of the new outfits and all of that. I know the rocket wingsuit captured your and I's attention for quite a while. That just felt like the first step in the direction of the road to the Olympics, of the X Games, kind of getting a little faster, a little edgier, a little more into the mainstream, instead of just a slow crawl like it was before we put jet engines on a pair of backpack wings.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, every time some new DLC was released, or when they added Alaska, different areas, added Asia, there was going to be bumps in, I'd say, number of people playing, because you'd get all the veterans coming back, and then they'd also have a new bundle that they were selling, which came with a new wave of advertising, was during a new event like the X Games or the Olympics, and so you had the influx of new players and the returning old players coming back to check out this new stuff. So if you do look at the player chart, it is quite a wave, and you can see, I didn't even know the exact dates, but I can be like, that was one of the DLC, that was one of the DLC, and that was one of the DLC, and that was when it was free on PlayStation Plus and all of that. So
yeah, and I don't think you can count the free to play as the peak of Steep. If you're going straight by the stats and straight by the charts, of course you're gonna look at that and say, boy, what happened there? That's when everyone was playing it. But you can't really count that as the true peak in your heart. On paper, yes, but not to us.
Yeah, that's a good debate to get into too, is the peak player count versus peak of just when was the game at its best and the community at its best. So the numbers, the Olympics was the highest. That was the peak player count, at least on Steam. So I don't know other consoles. We'll just go off of Steam.
Wait, that was higher than the free to play on PlayStation and all of that? RTTO was the highest peak of them all?
I just said it's Steam only, which is PC, so we don't have the stats for those. I don't think you can really get those, but it usually mirrors pretty closely. Those, when it was free to play on PlayStation and Xbox and PC, those are going to be different peaks, but just the number of people coming in was during the Olympic DLC. That December it was released, January and February of the Olympics were actually higher than launch. Well, at least one of those months was just a bit higher than launch for the average number of players playing at the same time. which isn't that surprising. The Olympics was a huge DLC. You got Asia, you got a ton of Olympic challenges, and it was just really cool to check out.
It also plays into the fact that it was the Olympics. It was the officially licensed video game of the 2018 Olympic Winter Games. That carries its own weight as well. So yeah, there was a peak. I think that's when the community was at its best, especially for us. That's really when we started to get noticed, and we started on our journey, going through the whole RTTO tournament and all of that. But you have the collectors. I'm not sure about you, but I know in our household we were always buying the Mario and Sonic at the summer games, at the winter games. Every 2 years we were buying the newest Mario and Sonic, and then all of a sudden Steep takes that role for a year at the Winter Olympics. And I'm happy that they switched it up. I'm happy that they did the DLC, and I hope that all of those folks who either came back into the game to experience that DLC or just bought it to see what it was about, I hope that they enjoyed it. I think that was when the peak of content could have been as well. There were so many people doing things with that DLC. Even when you search Steep now, a lot of those results return as RTTO.
That was, one of the busiest times because you had people looking up the Olympics. I'd argue that maybe the peak is around now, content-wise at least. And not,
Okay.
Obviously for our end, I'd say our content's at its best because we keep improving, but I just think this was such a new game, like a new area, that there wasn't a community for it at the beginning. There was for skateboarding games, and we have some of those guys in the Steep community too that were playing Skate 1, 2, 3, SSX, different action sports games. And there were some good content creators that then came, but I think focusing around this Steep and the winter action sports and what Riders Republic's going to be, a lot of new things have been coming out. Steep's been on the rise for the past few years. Stefan has his super funny edits and Shred the Spot, which he just started probably, half a year ago at this point.
Yeah.
Which is great. Check My Steez has been around for, I think, the whole time in Steep, but they were getting a lot of entries before they took their little break before Riders Republic, and I just think everyone in the community is familiar with each other now, so we know these are great photographers, these are great video makers, these guys are great at challenges, and when we go into the next game, we already know who to watch. We're not trying to search out each other and meet all these new people to collaborate with. We already have that group of people.
Yeah, and dude, this is such an incredible community. The peak of the game, I would say, it's either RTTO or it's right now. It depends on what you're talking about. Content, spot on. Content right now is the best that it's ever been. And I also love that the community has become a Swiss Army knife. With all of their different things. No one's doing the same thing that Steep's doing. No one is doing the same thing that Check My Steez is doing. No one's doing Shred This Spot. No one's doing a second Nick and Mitch. We've all found our own thing. So once you're in the community and you find one, you're going to find all of us, and they all offer something else. So I think the community is built, and we are priming ourselves. We're in the perfect position to transition into a brand new game, because as soon as Riders drops, all of those folks that are going to be seeing it new, right at release, we have to cram our content down their throats. We all have to work our hardest to be like, come to us, join us. Look at all of this beautiful content that we have for you. And I just can't wait for that, because I think Steep was a wonderful practice run, not only for Ubisoft ANSI and Ubisoft as a whole in the action sports world, but as the creators as well. I really feel like we are going to use and abuse Riders Republic once it comes out. All of us have perfected our craft, and the peak of Steep was just the starting platform for Riders Republic. And like you said, I think it's right now. I think the game itself has tired out. People aren't playing the game just to play the game anymore. They're playing the game to participate in the events, in the community, and make an impact with their friends. So, good on Steep for building such an incredible community. Who knew that the video game itself wasn't going to be the shining light it was the community that it built and that it pulled together. So, pull out the violin here. I'm tearing up.
Yeah, I can't add anything more touching than that, so I think we'll just cap it off with those beautiful words.
13 minutes and ending it with a sob story. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Swiss Water, for that fun as F main topic. That was a ton of fun. I enjoyed that a whole bunch. We got another weekly challenge for you. This week, we asked you guys to take it over to Switzerland. Let Switzerland deal with it. It's their problem this week. And Sofex, again, being the lone contributor here, pulling out 4 incredible shots. I mean, the variety, we only have one person submitting for these last couple of weeks here, but the variety that Sofex is offering is second to none.
He's got such an eye for all these photos, and he's got a couple that are in the style that he usually does with these mountains with the square frame and all of that. But the one I'm going to pick, it seems like he had the same idea as me with my sample photo, was by the gondola, the red gondola. I had my guy standing down looking up at one, and his guy is going up the staircase, says one more ride, just gonna hop on for that last lift as the sun's setting in the background. So he timed the sunlight perfectly with the vibe.
I know I sound like a broken record these past couple of weeks, but I would honestly pick yours as my ultimate favorite in this lineup, but that's not how we roll over here. So the fact that Sofex pulled the same gondola move was just incredible, and that was actually the one that I was going to pick. But I'm going to keep with tradition here, and I'm going to go with the La Dent Blanche. La Dent Blanche, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful. The silhouette of the mountain. This mountain lends itself so perfectly to this shot. It's almost a 2D image. You're not getting a whole lot of depth, but you get that just iconic double peak there with the sun right in the valley there, right as the I don't know. I'm rambling. I don't have words for it. Just look at it. It is gorgeous. Where are we taking them next week? Right? I think we're going to Japan, right?
I think so. Yeah, we really do need a list of all the mountains. I think I messed up too. With mountain ranges versus mountains at some point. So we're going to go to Zhao in Japan. There's only like 3 or 4 to pick from in Japan. So we'll go to Zhao. You know the drill. Take your best photos of the mountain or on the mountain or any feature that you can find on that mountain.
Yeah, maybe you'll find the same one as Mitch in the example clip. Moving on to community content. Boy, I am stuttering all over the place today. Strenio coming out with an edit. I thought that this was just going to be a home video because it starts as a home video and then it quickly transitions over to steep. So don't worry, this isn't just someone putzing around in their local park. This is yet another incredible edit from Strenio.
It is. And do you recognize who that guy is in the beginning?
If I say no, I feel like a lot of people are going to yell at me.
I mean, I'm going to yell at you.
Yeah.
It's 11 years ago.
Who is that? I know that nose. That sounds weird to say.
You should know that face, that nose, and that voice.
Is that Craig? Oh,
nope.
No.
I think the replaced teeth are a good hint. I think they're replaced. They look like hockey player teeth.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I am
failing me.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. That's Mr. Tom Wallish.
That is Mr. Tom Wallish.
There
Tom
you go. Wallish.
You had me worried.
I watched the clip again, and I played it with sound this time, and I heard that little Yinzer accent in there. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I told you I knew that nose.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. What a way to start it. Strenio just absolutely smacking it down as usual. Loved that clip around 115, that camera angle, the slow motion on that rail. Just clean as ever, man.
Just such another good edit. I thought he was done with his all-encompassing edit where he had all of the best parts of his edits, but he came back, and we also have an edit from Pancake Life. I think you teased it an episode or 2 ago. You were wondering if it was going to be posted because he said yes, he said no, and then he made a meme of you saying that and then him being confused. So I don't know if he meant to put this out this early, but he did have the premiere of his friend's edit. So just another great one by Pancake Life. Not part of a series, but I mean, he's got multiple riders in this. That's always so hard to shoot when you have two guys going at the same time. So great job.
Pancake has a wonderful eye for directing and producing and, you know, putting his ideas on paper and then making them happen in real life. And that really is an incredible skill. As I look at it right now, Pancake Life sitting at 29 subscribers. That's not going to fly, guys. We really need to start boosting our community members, especially with videos like this. I mean, hey, the last one, Strenio, featuring a Yinzer, Tom Wallish, and Pancake. Wow. Pancake featuring another Yinzer, Wiz Khalifa, with the "See You Again" song underneath there. Of course, you know that one with Charlie Puth. It's been a long day. You know the tune. I know you've been singing that in the shower every once in a while, Mitch.
Oh yeah, that's on my playlist. That's on Spotify Rewind. Top songs played, you know, all time for me.
Did you find anything on the Instagrams or on the YouTubes this week from just skiers, snowboarders, mountain bikers, anything around?
Oh, that's a good
I've been
question.
slacking.
I probably did see some cool stuff. I don't think I sent you anything though, so nothing really worthy of being on the show. I did see Steve had a video interviewing some guys that were, I think, Real Ski-Fi or something. I didn't get to watch the full thing. I actually just clicked on it before we started recording, and I would definitely recommend checking it out. These guys just do insane stunts on their skis. And again, another interview for him. He was talking with one of the guys that's in that. So some really cool videos and some crazy ski stunts.
Yeah, just wonderful community. You know, we talked about it in the main topic. That's how we wrapped it up, that the community is just bumping right now. We are cruising. And yeah, just what a time. What a time to be a part of this community. I think it's time to wrap it up. I'm starting to go in circles here. So thank you so much to all of our members over here on Nick and Mitch, executive producer Bone Crusher 2D, co-producers It's the Mort and Mitch's mom, Mama Bell, if you know her. And of course, our fans and Fans Plus. Thank you all. And if you are interested in getting some extra perks from Nick and Mitch, including watching these videos the night before they air in public, feel free to go and click the members link on our channel for more information there.
Yeah, you can also subscribe because we've got some awesome stuff coming up. I think we're gonna do the event, the Backcountry Brawl. That's going to be live on YouTube, but I mean, we'll have some fun stuff on YouTube. We'll have more videos, and I've got a couple other ideas bouncing around too. So it's not just going to be, what's the show called? Man, it's a long day. Après Steep. There we go. Got too many shows. We got the Steepcast, the Après Steep Riders Report. We're in that middle ground, I'd say.
There's so many names.
So many names to remember. Anyways, yes, subscribe. You can find us on Instagram at Nick and Mitch YT, on Twitter, which I think just retweets whenever we post something on Instagram, but it's there if you like to catch things first. You might find it on Twitter first. And we have a link tree too that Nick sometimes keeps up.
Yes, yeah, that link tree will take you to some of our focused content, you know, all of the Tartiflet Games events like the finals. It will also take you to the submission links over on nickandmitch.com, where you can find all of the rules for our Tartiflet Games events, along with the submission form for those events. So head on over there, give that a look, and we hope to see you guys in the next competition. Backcountry Brawl submissions have closed, but we are looking forward to that June 5th, June 6th weekend. It's going to be one of those days we are going to get after it. We are clearly brushing up on our live stream presentations here. The last 2 weeks of Après Steep have been in front of the camera live with minimal cuts, right? You cut every now and then, but for the most part, we've just been rolling.
I think that's the next thing. If we keep up with this video, that's we'll see how many times we've cut from doing it live, because we do one take each section, but there's definitely a couple of cuts in there. It's not going to be the cleanest, but hey, some people like the cameras on, so maybe we'll keep it that way.
Hey, the only way to get better is to practice, right? I mean, we're both musicians, we're both hockey players, we both play video games. The best way to get better is to practice it. So here we are throwing ourselves into the fire. This is week 2 of full on-cam live action Nick and Mitch, and it's weird. We are both extremely exhausted, please go check out all of the links down in the description, and be sure to join us back here next week, same place, same time, for episode 23 of Après Steep. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see yins on the slopes.